You Booked It, episode 104. Hey, entertainers and performers of the world. I'm your host, Dane Reese, and welcome to You Booked It, where I chat with inspiring entertainment professionals 7 days a week. By digging into their journey, we're going to discover everything you need to do to have a successful entertainment career. You know, because training usually skips that part about how to actually make your skills work for you in the real world. Fellow entertainers, my drive here at You Booked It is to share the inspiring and incredible journeys of successful entertainment professionals. We're here to support your journey. So go to youbookeditpodcast.com and join the You Booked It email community, where we dig deep into truly actionable things you can be doing right now to book that next audition, submission, or gig. If you enjoy this free podcast, please show your support and search for You Booked It on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app, where you can subscribe so you don't miss an episode, leave a rating, and review. And now, let's do this. Okay, let's get started. I am excited to introduce my guest today, Melissa Victor. Are you ready for this, Melissa?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Melissa is a Baltimore native, DC-trained New York City performer in musical theater. She has been seen on many stages across the U.S. in shows such as Oklahoma at Denver Center of the Performing Arts, The Wiz at Ford's Theater, and Pippin at Summer Theater of New Canaan. She is also the creator and host of a new children's podcast called Stoopkid Stories, which is now making its way into households all over the world. She is a lover of Christ, cookies, and all things creative. Melissa, that is a quick intro of who you are and what you've done, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself? Fill in the gaps. A little bit more about, what you do as a professional in the entertainment industry.
Cool. Like the bio said, I'm a musical theater performer. I went to Catholic University and got my bachelor's in music for musical theater. I've been living in New York for about 2 years, just beating the pavement with my friends, trying to chase that Broadway dream pre-COVID. Singing, dancing, and acting is my life. And, I like making money to sing, dance, and act.
For sure. I mean, that's the dream, right? That's great.
Yeah. So that's the gist of it.
Beautiful. And let's move on to this next section here. And Melissa, look, I am a sucker for a good quote. What is your favorite quote you'd like to share with everyone?
So I have this quote that goes in the signature of my email. It's sing like it's your last note, and dance like it's your last step. Because you never know, not to sound morbid, but you never know what tomorrow may bring. Do everything full out. Give everything your all every time you do it. Love on your friends hard, love on your family even harder. You walk into the room for an audition, give it your all, leave it on the floor. And that's what I try to take with me every day. So sing like it's your last note and dance like it's your last step.
For sure. That's such a great quote. And you're so right, because it's very easy, isn't it, to get caught up on future pacing ourselves and looking too far into the future and not enjoying those moments, enjoying what we're doing and living life to the fullest. Instead, we get too concerned about the what ifs and what we're trying to accomplish. While those things are important and we have to have direction, we have to keep sight of what's happening right now and relish in those moments.
Yeah, absolutely. Live in the present, trying to stay present and not always think about, okay, what's next? In the context of being an actor, enjoying the rehearsal process, enjoying tech, enjoying being in the show, and not always thinking about, okay, what's my next gig once this gig is over?
Exactly
I think
right.
that takes the sweetness out of the gig that you booked.
Exactly right. For sure. And let's go on to this next section here. And Melissa, of course, you are an entertainer. I am an entertainer, and I think that you'd agree. This industry can be one of the most subjective, brutally honest, personally emotional industries in existence. And you know as well as I that in order to create and have a successful career in this industry like you're having now, takes a lot of dedication and hard work. And while, There is an outrageous amount of fun and excitement doing what we do, being on stage. There are also our fair share of obstacles, challenges, and failures we are going to experience and we're going to have to move forward through. So tell us, what is one key challenge, obstacle, or failure you've experienced in your career? And how did you come out the other side better because of it?
So the first time I moved to New York in 2014, I found myself hustling really hard. Like I was doing the New York hustle.
Right.
I was auditioning in the morning, and then I worked 2 jobs, and then I would go back home to my apartment, and my apartment had mice. And then I moved to another apartment. That apartment had mice. And I moved to another apartment. That apartment had cockroaches. And so, but I thought that I had to be in New York at this time. Like I was young, I had energy. I'm still young, I have energy, but like I was younger and had more energy.
Right. Weren't we
And I
all?
was right, older days. And but it started to get the best of me. I didn't pace myself. And so a big struggle I had was trying to balance the hustle of trying to book a show as well as supporting myself. So then I got anxiety for I had my first panic attack at the first time. I had my first anxiety attack, and I was like, I don't feel like myself. So after 5 months of being in the city, I had to move back home because I just couldn't do it, and I felt like a failure. I felt like I had let everyone down. I let myself down. I was like, "Oh, you're not cut out for New York," because they say even people were telling me when I was thinking about moving back home, "Oh, you gotta stay in New York for at least 6 months. After the 6-month hump, you'll be fine." And I at that 5-month mark, and I was in a show. I had done 3 shows, so I was killing it for
Yeah.
just getting to New York. I was in 3 shows. I had 2 side jobs, and I had an apartment. I mean, it had mice, but I had a place to live. I wasn't living on someone's couch. So on the outside, it looked like I was living the dream, but my mental health was just out of whack, and which affected my physical health. So when I moved home, I felt like a complete failure. And thank God I came home because I did end up getting sick. I found out that I had an autoimmune condition. And so I needed to be home with my mom and my family to help take care of that. But I just felt like a complete failure. And in this industry, we're not rest isn't something that we talk about a lot.
Mm.
What is rest? We don't think about, oh, you need to rest. And I was like, I don't need to rest. I need to be up here hustling. Everyone else is booking tours and booking this and doing this. I can't sit here for 6 months to get better. Like I'm fine. So when I had to leave New York the first time, I felt like a complete failure and it took a lot out of me. But what I did learn is that, okay, you need to take care of your body because if you don't take care of your body, you're not going to be able to be in this industry at all. And your body is telling you, hey, chill out, take care of me. And then you'll see the fruit of it on the other side, but you have to take care of your body and your mind first. So that was the gym that came out of me moving back home to just rest and take care of myself. And thank God I was able to come back home at 24, but that's always hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really like that you addressed and brought up the mental health, the physical health aspect of this, and that you said, hey, I thought I had to be hustling all the time. I see people booking shows, booking tours, doing stuff. The only way I'm going to get there is if I'm out there doing it and hustling just as hard. And the thing is, we all have our own journeys. We all have
Mhm.
to do that. And what I find is that the social media world, as wonderful as it can be for marketing ourselves, for letting casting directors know about what it is that we do or submissions and things like this, is that it can also become a very toxic place as far as your mental health is concerned, because what we end up seeing is the peaks of everyone's day or a fabricated reality.
It's not the full picture. They only show us what they want us to see.
Exactly. It's very specific. And like you said, they're choosing what to put out. Everyone does, right? And that's
Mhm.
okay. But to also remember that everyone is also struggling. Everyone's working and hustling just as hard. And to live in your own journey, be that, try not to let that stuff affect you, and just set out your plan, know that you need to do this, this, and this, and then do it and be confident in the actions that you're taking.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
All right, let's move on to a time that I like to call your spotlight moment. That
Mm.
one moment in time you realized, yes, I am going to be an entertainer for a living. Or maybe it was, yes, this is what I need to be doing as an entertainer. Tell us about
Mm,
that.
okay, that comes in three parts. I remember the first time I sang a solo on my church choir. That's when I realized, okay, I really love to sing
Mm.
and I want to sing for the rest of my life. And that singing led to dance classes and joining different programs and doing your elementary school, middle school shows. Then I saw Hairspray on Broadway.
Oh, such a good
And
show.
and I had seen shows on Broadway before. Like I saw Aida, I saw All Shook Up, but for some reason when we went to go see Hairspray, I saw Notori Naughton from 3LW, who was also in Power. Shout out to Notori. She was playing Little Inez, and my friends still laugh about it to this day. I left the theater in tears, crying my eyes out. And I'm on the bus back home, and they're like, "Why are you so upset?" I said, "Because that should be me up there. That should be me. I should be like literally crying because I wasn't Little Inez, right?" And my friends are like, "Calm down." I was like, "No, you don't get it. I should be on Broadway." Mind you, I think I was in ninth grade. In ninth grade. So I saw Hairspray and I was like, wow, people do this for a living. I could sing and dance for a living and do it. So that was the second instance. And then the third instance, full circle moment. My first professional show was Hairspray. I was cast as Little Inez.
Oh, way cool.
And I had walked, and up to this point, I had never done a show with the elaborate set, elaborate lightings. Only thing I knew
Mm.
was like my high school stage where it was like cardboard boxes as the set, or like my summer program that I go to where, I mean, we sound fantastic at that summer program, but barely had a set, costumes from the Goodwill. So I walked into Toby's Dinner Theater, which is where I did Hairspray, and I saw the set for the first time. And I said, wow, this is professionalism. Wow. And I looked around and I like started touching the light post, and I was like, wow, I made it. Mind you, I'm working at a dinner theater, like Toby's in the theater. Shout out to Toby's. That's the come up of DC theater. That's where you start. But I just thought, I was like, I made it. I am a professional actor. This is it. I am not in a summer camp show. I'm not in a school production. I'm in a professional show, and I'm about to open a professional show next week.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're
Yeah,
paying you
that
for
was, and they're paying me for it.
What?
Right. I think that was the third moment where I looked around and I said, not even I can do this. I am doing this. This is what I'm doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, those are three such great, pertinent moments. Thank you for sharing those.
Of course.
And let's piggyback on that real quick and talk about your number one booked it moment. Walk us through that day, the auditions and callbacks, if they happen to be a part of it. What was going on in your life, and what about that moment makes it your favorite booked it moment?
Oh, wow. I have a lot of shows on my resume that I actually love. I've been blessed to like work with some amazing people in my cast and on the creative side.
Hmm.
But the one that stands out to me the most is The Wiz at Ford's Theater in DC. And in college at Catholic, you have the big theaters. You have Signature, you have Arena, you have Ford's. And so I was like, I gotta work at Ford's. Ford's is the top paying theater in DC. I have to do it. And I had auditioned the year before for Ragtime, didn't get in. And then when I saw that they were doing The Wiz with a director and a choreographer and a music director that I absolutely adored and loved, I was like, I have to be in this show. I don't know
Yeah.
what I have to do, but I have to be in The Wiz at Ford's. So I went through the audition, the callbacks, and danced my tail off, was giving everything that I had, all the Black excellence that I could pour out of me. And when I got that email, did I get an email or a phone call? Either way, when I got the message that I was in The Wiz at Ford's Theater, oh my God. I was like, I made it. It was another like I made
Yes.
it moment.
Oh, that's
Simply
so
another
good.
like I made it moment. And to be in a show with all Black people and all Black creative team, because sometimes you do an all Black show and the creative team isn't all Black. Our director, our choreographer, our music director, and our costume designer were all Black. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I'm here. I booked it. I made it in the show.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that
And
show. So
it's
good.
so good. And I got to fly on the trapeze in the show. So like I learned a
Oh,
new skill.
oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool. That's what I love about this industry is that you'll get booked for things, and then not only did you get to do a cool show and performance, but they literally paid you to learn another skill that now you can apply to so many things in your life. It's so cool.
Yeah. When they said you're going to trapeze school, I said, "What?
What?
I get to follow my dreams of being in the circus?"
There you go. Look at you killing two birds with one stone. So good.
Right.
All right, let's move on to talk about the present for a minute. And let's talk about what projects you're working on now. What are you looking forward to? And, it's a crazy time. We're living amidst this global pandemic. How do
Mhm.
you see the entertainment industry moving forward in the next couple of years?
Oh, oh, that's such a loaded question.
I
One thing
know.
I miss the most, one thing I miss the most, and I tell my friends this all the time, I miss going to Pearl in Ripley Greer, seeing my friends. I'm the girl who comes into Pearl and I know everyone. I'm like, hey girl, oh my God, hey girl, hey boo, hey. And I know everyone in every room. Or say my audition is at 10 a.m. I will still be at Pearl 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll just spend all day at Pearl because my friends are coming in and out for appointments. And I'm just like, oh, I'm going up to the 12th floor. I'm going up to the third floor. I'm going to walk up the street to Equity. I'll come right back. And I'm down in Midtown for 8 hours just
Right.
talking to people. So I do miss the social aspect of seeing my friends in auditions and hearing them kill it and just being with my friends. With that being said, I'm really pouring all my energy into finding ways to be creative that's not on the stage. I remember coming into 2020 and making my vision board and praying in the new year. I asked God, I said, God, this year I want you to reveal to me who I am outside of being booked and blessed. What else am I capable of besides singing and dancing on someone's stage?
Yeah.
I was like, there has to be more to me, even though I'm grateful for this gift, but there has to be more. And lo and behold, my podcast was launched at the end of January 2020 and has taken off. Like Stoopkid Stories has taken a world of its own. So I'm really pouring all of my creative energy into this storytelling podcast, writing the stories, creating these characters, voicing them, giving them a life, and being another vessel of representation for Black children all over the world. I get reviews from people in Great Britain, people in Canada telling me, "Oh my God, this is so great. Like I see myself." And that's so amazing. So God has revealed to me, like, okay, Melissa, you're a writer, you're an entrepreneur, you're a producer, you're a content creator, you're a podcaster. And I'm like, wow, I didn't know I had all these skills.
Right.
Okay. So that's where a lot of my energy is going to, just writing a lot and really getting this podcast to move and get off the ground. And then I'm connecting with a whole different group of people I would have never connected with. I never knew there were so many kid podcasts out. One, I didn't know there were so many podcasters out there too. So learning audio engineering, learning sound design, learning all of these new skills.
Yeah.
I don't know how the world is going to look or how our industry is going to look in 2021. I really don't. It's hard to say even if shows will open back up in the beginning of 2021. So I think it's, as my friend likes to call it, pivot. It's good to for us as artists to pivot and pour our imagination and creativity into something else in the meantime, but something that brings you joy. Don't just do something else just to do it, just to buy the time because you'll get sick of it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's great advice right there. I've definitely gone down a few little rabbit holes and tangents throughout my life. And you're right. If you're not really in it, it just becomes laborsome. And
Oh
you
yeah.
give it up and you go, well, why did I pour all my energy into that? I mean, there's things that you learn along the way and there's that value, but still, it was never really something that was sustainable from the get go because your heart was never in it.
Your heart wasn't in it. And I believe that our heart can be in different places. Some people are like, I love the stage and I'll never leave the stage.
Yeah.
But then they go do a film and they're like, oh my God, but I love film. I love being on film. I love doing TV. I love doing commercials. But remember when you said you could only do stage or your heart was only on stage? Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to expand your heart
I
as
think
an
that is
artist.
incredible advice. So good right there.
Thanks.
Yeah. And it is time to move on to one of my favorite sections in the interview. I call it the Grease Lightning round.
Grease lightning, oh, grease lightning. I had to. You set it
Of
up. So
course, of course. I threw it up there. So, all right. Well, I'm going to ask you a handful of questions. I want you to answer them as quickly and concisely as possible, one after another. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right, first question. What was the one thing holding you back from committing to a career as an entertainer?
I don't think anything held me back. I had a very supportive family and a childhood that really poured me into the arts. I think more so people were pushing me into it. I don't think anything ever really held me back.
Ah, beautiful. And the second question. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Just go for it.
So simple,
Just
so good. Honestly, though, you have to. You
you
never
have
know
to.
until you put it out there. There's so many people that sit around and go, what if I did this? What if I did that? Oh, could you imagine if I did this? Then
Oh
just
yeah.
do it. Give it a go.
Just do it.
If you
Just
fall
go
on your
for it.
face,
You
that's
never know.
fine.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And hopefully you have friends and family who are there to catch you if you fall on your face. That's
yeah, and
okay.
that's
You'll
okay.
be
But now you
fine.
learn something.
Right.
Every time you fail, there's something good to be taken away from it.
Mhm.
Take that, learn from it, go at it again. Pivot,
Right.
right?
Pivot. Mhm.
Third question. What is something that is working for you right now? Or if you'd like to go pre COVID, what was working for you before our industry went on pause?
Oh, was working? Was anything really working or was I just winging it?
Hey,
I think not giving up was working because if you give up, then nothing can work because you gave up on it. I know that sounds very like a lofty idea, but I think just not the same that just going for it and just not giving up, like making sure I got out of bed every single day, make sure I was hitting the gym, make sure I woke up with a purpose, and really, I know what's working right now. Really feeding my soul what it wants, really feeding Melissa what Melissa wants, and finding things that bring me joy, finding things that bring me happiness, finding things that bring me peace. That's what's working for me right now.
oh,
Instead of stressing about a million other things. No, this brings me joy, do it. This brings you if talking to the birds when you walk down the street brings you happiness, talk to the daggone birds. If you sitting outside reading a book brings you joy, sit outside and read a book. If you laying on the middle of your floor in a starfish position brings you happiness, Melissa, lay in the middle of that floor and like a starfish.
yeah. What brings you joy, man? That's so that's so profound and good. And you know what? It's something that's always been there for us that we could always take at any time and do that and embrace that. But I think that's one of the great blessings of this entire very weird time in history, that we are all almost forced to reflect and have the time to
Oh yeah.
take the time to do things that bring us joy and what makes us happy. And it's
Oh yeah.
unprecedented that we have this amount of time. And there's a lot of negative things that go with this, of course, shutting down the economy, no work in this industry.
Mhm.
But there are so many wonderful things that we can do introspectively with ourselves that I think a lot of us are finding ourselves again.
Yeah, I sure am. I mean, I got a whole therapist during the pandemic. I've never done therapy before, and I got a therapist, and I am pruning so many things off of myself, and I'm unlearning so many habits that didn't serve me,
Hmm.
but I felt like I needed to do because of the industry and things like that, going back to the hustle mentality. But I'm unlearning, I'm basically reprogramming myself. So hopefully with this reset, with this reprogramming that I'm doing when our industry does open back up, I come back a very different but a better version of myself.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
And the fourth question. What is your best resource, whether that is a book, a movie, a YouTube video, a podcast, maybe a piece of technology that you found is helping your career right now?
So I am on the dean's list at YouTube University. YouTube University is amazing. That just means I watch YouTube videos all the time. It's not really a thing. I am obsessed with YouTube videos. The only reason I have a podcast really is because of YouTube videos. That's how I got my start. Things about entrepreneurship from YouTube. I'm learning things about the stock market from YouTube.
Yeah.
So many, my new skincare routine that I have. Thank you, YouTube. It's amazing. So YouTube has been a great resource to me, resource and a source of entertainment as
Yeah,
well.
for sure.
Um, I said to myself a couple weeks ago, I started watching a YouTuber. Shout out to Kev on Stage and Mrs. Kev on Stage, and I find myself laughing at their videos, and then I had to sit and think. I was like, when is Melissa? When was the last time you laughed by yourself? And not just a chuckle, but like a hearty cackle.
Yeah.
You can cackle with your friends. When is the last time you really sat with yourself and had a good time with yourself? And watching YouTube, I have a good time and I am laughing hysterically and it feels so good. YouTube, thank you.
Yeah. You said I'm learning about the stock market. Very cool. Have you watched Ray Dalio? I think it's Dalio. Ray Dalio's video on financial cycles?
No, but I think I probably need to. Let me write
You
that
should.
down.
It's maybe 15 minutes long. It's real good. And he essentially explains the booms and busts and the smaller booms and busts and why an economy fluctuates the way it does in a very layman, easy way to understand. Because the guy is the owner of, I believe it's Bridgewater. I think that's his company. It's one of the largest hedge funds in the entire planet. So the guy knows what he's talking about and he's completely self made. So have a listen to that because it really gives some macro perspective on the economy.
Nice. And which video is it by Ray
It's some
Dalio?
it has something to do with the cycles of
Cycles.
the
Got it.
economy. I can't remember exactly, but it's a really great video and it's fairly short and it gives you loads of information that you can
The
understand.
economic cycle. I got
Yeah.
it. See? Right
Check it
here.
out.
Boom.
There it is. All right. And the fifth question, if you had to start your career from scratch, but you still had all the knowledge and experience you've collected from your career in this industry, what would you do or not do? Would you do anything differently or would you keep it the same?
The only thing I think I would do differently, and I probably will get some hate for this, is not gain weight. I really believe, and it's so bad, but my weight held me back from a lot of jobs in my early and mid 20s. Just because of my type, like you can hear that my voice is super high pitched, but I was carrying weight around that made me look very matronly. So, even when I played Little Inez, the youthfulness was there, the energy was there, the voice was there, the dance ability was there, but my body looked. Some reviewers said, "Oh, she looks a little older than we thought." And my mom always told me, "Melissa, keep your weight down, keep your weight down." And I just thought it was her just being, vain. But then it started to affect my health. And I'm not saying I'm some overly morbidly obese person. I'm 5 feet tall. And the way, let me not even say about weight. I will check my eating. I would say that my eating is connected with my autoimmune condition. And if I had a better grasp on food and a better relationship on food in my 20s, I feel like my career could have been, I don't want to say easier because we all have to go through things in order to learn. I may have just had a better shot and also a better relationship with food that I wouldn't have to talk about in therapy now.
Yeah, it's such an important thing and it's also a tricky thing to talk about as well.
Yeah.
It's controversial and it's hard to give advice any which way because you don't know how people will take the information, if it offends people, if it doesn't offend people. And absolutely, it's a very fine line to do that. But it is an industry that is very subjective and
Yeah.
very looks based, and it has nothing to do with you.
The talent or the ability. No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
You need different looks, and your look may be great for one role and not great for another. And that's just the way it is. But there's also so much to be said about understanding proper health, proper nutrition, and taking care of your body in a healthy way.
Yeah. And also once I had dropped a lot of weight, I was able to have a better audition because I was more confident in how I looked. I was more confident going into a dance call because I had shed a lot of weight. Which made casting directors look at me more. And it wasn't because I lost the weight, it's because I had a different level of confidence now. Even in the style and the clothes that I wore changed, and that alone, I was able to step in the room as a very different, more confident person. But that's my story. That doesn't, I'm not saying it has to be for everyone, but that for me in my journey, that's something I would have tried to change early on.
Well said. And the last question. What is the golden nugget knowledge drop you've learned from your successful career in this industry that you'd like to leave with our listeners?
My brother once told me, he said, stay down until you come up. And that's a very loaded statement. But the way I took it and the way he tried to explain it to me is, stay humble always. Also, don't tell everybody your business. Everybody doesn't need to know when you're at an audition. Everybody doesn't need to know when you have a callback. Stay low, stay down, just keep some things for yourself. And when it's time for you to blow up and for you to be in people's spotlight, you will. Just trust the process. Um, Understand keeping things to yourself just for your sake. Um, because you don't have to overshare, because you don't know what people are praying against you, praying for your downfall. And not saying that we need to lean into that or even, give that any of our energy. But some things, everybody doesn't need to know everything about your life. And I am an oversharer. I used to be the one that shared every minute of my day, every callback, every audition, everything on social media. And then at one point I had to stop. I stopped. I was like, you know what? Everyone doesn't deserve to know everything about me. So, and then what am I left with myself to enjoy, just me and myself, if everybody knows about it? So, what my brother said, stay down until you come up. Because there's going to be a come up when everybody's going to want a piece of you. There's going to be a come up, a time where you're in the spotlight and you won't be able to hide, because all eyes are going to be on you because you're that popping. But until then, lay low, be patient, be humble, and keep some little nuggets for yourself.
Yeah, keep little nuggets for yourself. I think that is so profound and such great advice because they're so personal and they're yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Enjoy them for what they are and share them with the people that really, really properly, truly love you.
Yes.
And that's usually a
Yes.
pretty small group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And
Not
that's
the whole
totally fine.
world.
No, no. And to wrap up this interview, it is time to give yourself a plug. Where can we find you? How do our listeners connect with you? Is there anything you want to promote?
Okay, so if you want to just follow all of my crazy everyday life, you can follow me on Instagram at Melly, MELLY_music. And if you have any kids at home, your niece, your nephew, your daughter, your son, grandkids, whoever's listening, or if you have cousins, or if you have students and you want to have an opportunity for them to have some off-screen time, because I know kids love to be on the iPad. They love to watch YouTube. But if you want them to have some downtime, check out Stoopkid Stories podcast. You can find it on wherever you find your favorite podcast, wherever you find you booked it, you can find Stoopkid Stories. And you can follow along. You can follow along Stoopkid Stories on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Stoopkid Stories. And give the stories a listen and share them with any kids that you have in your life.
Brilliant. And for everyone listening, I have put the links to everything Melissa just said in the description of this episode so you can easily connect with her and Stoopkid Stories. Melissa, thank you for being here. It has been such a pleasure to get to know you and to chat.
Thank you. I'm so glad I was able to come and be honest. This is so amazing.
Thank you so much for joining us today. My one call to action for you is to go to youbookeditpodcast.com and join our free email community where we dig deep into a continually growing resource of truly actionable things you can be doing right now to help advance your entertainment career. Don't miss an episode. We have a new guest 7 days a week. Search for You Booked It on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app and subscribe today. All the best to you. We'll see you tomorrow.